A hydraulic jack on the rotisserie is pumped, lifting the entire car shell into the air. Once high enough, the locking pins are inserted.
Hold it right there. How's the trunk line up?
Looks perfect. Tap it down gently. Get the clamps ready.
The clamps hold the new quarter panel tight against the skeleton of the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. The spray gun trigger is pulled, and a wide fan of black primer coats the bare metal. The patchwork of gray steel
The application begins on the hood. The clear coat hits the black base, and instantly, the surface transforms from matte to a wet.
The bake cycle is complete, and the paint has cured for 24 hours. The booth fans are off. It is time to unmask.
To achieve a show car finish, the orange peel texture in the clear coat must be leveled. A bucket of water with a drop of dish
The engine assembly continues with the installation ring.
We're looking at a dirty Holley 735 CFM. The screws crack loose with effort, releasing old fuel.
The reassembly begins. Crisp blue non-stick gaskets are placed on the main body. The metering blocks are pressed. The rebuilt Holley carburetor is mounted. The distributor, with its vacuum advance canister, is dropped into its hole. The transmission case has been bead blasted to look like new aluminum. The gear set lies on a clean white towel, looking like a surgical layout. The bolts are tightened in a star pattern to compress the diaphragm spring evenly. Next, the heavy cast iron belt. The mechanic carefully guides the input shaft. It is a delicate operation. Suddenly, the transmission slips forward. The upper arm is bolted to the shock tower. The bushing squeaks slightly as the arm is articulated. The strut rod is threaded into the ones.
This is the most dangerous part of suspension work. The heavy front coil spring is placed into the spring compressor tool.
The 9-inch rear axle housing, freshly painted in semi-gloss black, sits on jack stands. The third member, the nuts are run down with an impact gun, securing the axle to the car. New staggered shock absorbers are installed.
Installing brake lines and fuel lines. A mechanic carefully clips the long fuel line along the rocker panel.
The center link, idler arm, and tie rods are lifted as a unit and connected. Castle nuts are tightened, then a fresh
The slip yoke is lubricated with transmission fluid. It slides into the tail housing of the transmission. The mechanic tires. A high-performance aluminum radiator, painted black to look stock, is lowered into the front of the engine bay. It slides into the rubber mounting brackets. The main wiring harness is laid out across the engine bay. The connectors snap satisfyingly into the alternator and voltage rail. The mechanic lifts the H-pipe, maneuvering it to meet the collector flanges. A gasket is slipped in and the bolts are tightened.
The mechanic wraps his knuckles on the untreated metal and then on the treated metal. The tinny echo is gone.
The instrument cluster, with its restored gauges, is screwed into the bezel. The clear plastic lenses are polished.
The restored steering column, painted satin black, is inserted through the firewall hole. Inside, the
The new glass is centered over the opening and pressed down firmly. The butyl compresses, forming a watertight seal.
The metal door shells of the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429 are prepped. A clear plastic water shield is
The taillight housings are fitted with new gaskets. The assembly is bolted to the rear tail panel. A middle Fluids and first start prep. The hood is open. The restoration is mechanically complete. Now, life must be poured into it. The mechanic rotates the distributor slightly, advancing the timing until the engine note sharpens. A screw.
Emphasis. The mechanic shines a flashlight on the rear main seal of the engine, bone dry. The transmission unit tail shaft. Dry.
This is where the effort went. Hundreds of hours transforming biological chaos into this mechanical perfection,